Okay, heels high, big stretch. You don't point those toes toward the chest. You guys know the deal. Just get 10 to the front, 10 to the side. We're going to be pairing 2 exercises this time. By the way, watch what I did yesterday for that's on YouTube. It's you'll be familiar with it because we do it at Backpack Sculpt. You guys have come to that class, but it just goes over using your own muscle as resistance against yourself, because nothing better to do than to battle yourself. Okay, I know you guys can't see me. I'm sorry. I've got a lighting solution in my head, but I can't do it now. We're on a time crunch, and I got this hat situation figured out, so that's good. So again, 10 to the side. If you've been following along with my classes, I sent an update. Accordion Man, he smiled, full smile at me, and waved. So really making progress with Accordion Man. This is after a year and a half of living here and him not acknowledging me. So now let's take our Spider-Man lunges, just 5 per foot. So yeah, things are going pretty well. We got Accordion Man acknowledging my existence and not looking angrily at me as he plays the accordion. I'm gonna close this blind. I think this one's where a ton of light is coming in through. Maybe that'd be better. Not a full solution, but let's get 10 bodyweight squats. Then we're gonna get started with some shoulder work. And let me just explain what we're gonna do. Try to open those hips up as you're sitting down. Try to really focus on driving the knees out. I guess you can see me. Okay. All right. Well, we'll work with it. We'll work with it. Knees out, feet to the floor. So now, let's grab our weight, our bag. This one's actually got a lot of books in it. This is gonna be hard for the shoulder work. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up to 10 reps. We're gonna do them quick, 1 count. We're gonna do a rear delt fly into a fly. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, work our way up. So I'm just gonna sit down, I'm gonna go 1, 1, and then we'll do 2, and 2. And we're just gonna work our way up to 10, like that, focusing on rear delt, then the side delt, okay? So let's, when we're back, get a good loaded hamstring position, lower back is flat, shoulder blades stay down. We're gonna drive out, just 1 and 1, 2, and 2. Again, focus on moving at the elbow, 3, and just try to keep tension on the entire time. If you have to take a rest during this, that's fine. Get as high as you can with the reps. This will get really tiring, especially on that rear delt fly. I'm gonna hit the 4. No count here. This is gonna take plenty of work by itself. So now we're on 5. You should really feel that blood getting into the shoulder, and this will get through the whole shoulder. So we usually work one part of the shoulder at a time. Now we're gonna get a lot of blood flow to the entire shoulder, rear delt and side. Neither one is fully resting during the other movement. They're just getting a little bit of rest, which is what we want. So now we're on 6. Again, you don't need a ton of weight. Should make this one a little lighter to get a lot of work out of the shoulder. And 6. Try to take this to 10. Then we'll go right onto the other arm. Try to keep that arm straight or slightly bent. You want to have the biceps and the triceps contracted to the same degree on each side as you're doing this. Just moving at the elbow. 3 more sets. 2, going to 8 here. Good, and if you feel it, right back there, right where you should be able to move around the shoulder and feel that rear delt, getting a lot of blood. If it's going into the triceps, it means you're trying to move with your arms too much and not moving with your shoulder enough. And what you'll notice as you go into that shoulder fly on the side is that now they both have to work for each movement. Just because they're both getting so fatigued, they're trying to do as much as they can. All right, let's finish out with that 10. Then we're going to go on to the other arm. No rest, right into that other arm. Same thing, 1 rear delt fly, 1 shoulder fly, 2 rear delt flies, 2 shoulder flies. As under control as you can, but no time. We're not going to keep a tempo because we're going to get a lot of constant tension on that shoulder doing it this way. And again, these are just different ways to achieve our goal of getting a lot of work without a lot of weight. So one way to do that is just to keep this constant tension, or as close to constant tension as you can. It's unlikely, at least if you have a decent amount of weight, that you'll make it through this without taking a little rest for the shoulder, but as little as possible. So now we're on that 5, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, good. Good morning, Irina. I hope you're actually training. Oh man. Whew, 6. All right, we just gotta get through 10 here. We'll do the same thing with our curl and our triceps extension. I'll show you how we're going to do that. This is how we do it. It's going to be important. Just like how we do everything is important. 5. Again, arm stays kind of straight. And we should know what I mean by a slight bend. It should be a constant bend, right? We don't want the arm locked out, but we don't want the arm actually moving. Like most things, there's a subtlety there that isn't going to be described in a black and white. 2 more sets. Try to make it to that 10. And we'll be doing this with our squat and our lunge as well. All right, let's finish this out. Then we'll go into our curl and our tricep extension. You may want to load more weight into that unless you had it already pretty heavy, but you're going to be a lot stronger in that movement. And we're going to be moving up in weight on every set until we get to the absolute top, and then we'll keep it. Which will obviously be our squat. And our lunge, that'll be kind of our peak weight. And then we'll move into some movements that aren't quite as strong, but you'll still be able to use the same weight. Be doing less reps. All right. So now, I'm gonna give you a minute to maybe finish, and I'll just show you what we're gonna do. Curl, now we're gonna keep that strict. Keep the palm turned up. So we'll be doing a reverse curl. Gets a little more work in the forearms, and it just works the biceps slightly differently in a weaker position. So you need less weight. So we're going to take our curl here, and we're going to turn, triceps extension. Back down, 2 curls, turn, 2 triceps extensions, 3 curls, turn, 3 triceps extensions. And if you need more weight in this, definitely load it up. 4 curls. Keep those knuckles facing up the entire time. For your triceps extension, then you're just fixing the shoulder now and moving at the elbow joint. Okay. 5 curls. So we can see we're accumulating reps. In this case, we're working an opposing muscle, but we're still forcing the shoulder to stabilize, and that's already fatigued from the last set. All right, should be on 6. Keep that knuckle facing up. If you have to, you can turn the palm up if you get fatigued, but try to do as many reps as you can with those knuckles facing up. That's going to be where you can get the most work out of the least weight. So I'm keeping my palm down the entire time. You should feel some blood getting into that forearm there as well, especially on the top, right? Our wrist extensor is working just to stabilize the wrist in this position. And there are a lot of questions that I'd say get a decent, if that strap gets in the way, decent amount of questions about how to work the forearms. This is one of them. Now there are a lot of movements that the forearms can do. Oh man, actually before we left I intended to make a video about that. Maybe I'll try to do it. I was going to use some of the equipment. But the forearm is capable of a lot of movement. Our hand is itself capable of as much movement as the rest of our body combined, right? It's a very mobile joint. It articulates very well. We communicate with it a lot. Very important. So there are actually a lot of different movements that you need to fully work the forearms. And a lot of them come in incrementally. We're almost done. Finish out this 10. A lot of them come in tangentially when we train other movements, such as if we're doing this reverse curl. If we're doing a regular curl, the wrist flexors sort of work, but there are times where it is helpful to emphasize them. So this is going to emphasize those extensors. So let's finish out our 10. And then we'll go right onto the other arm. Okay. Same thing, no rest here, just 1 and 1, 2 and 2. Keep moving without stopping as much as you can by keeping constant tension on the arm. And notice how once you get to the top, see that on the 4th here, once you get to the top, I'm just rotating that wrist around, bringing the elbow up, right into position to go into that triceps extension. Now this isn't going to be, the backpack, yeah, it's going to drag along your shoulder, but it shouldn't bother you. It should be full of books. So it shouldn't hurt. If it does, you try to hold it a little further back, but you will need less weight in that case. So it's just going to depend. I hit this 6. Same thing, constant tension on those biceps. So as soon as you get to the bottom of the movement, right back to the top. Don't rest at the bottom. With the tricep extension, don't rest at the top. Just want to keep that arm moving. Finish out this 10, then we're going to go into our squat and our reverse lunge, 1 and 1 up to 10. So I got 8 here. And watch, if you don't take my backpack sculpt class usually, watch what I did this week on YouTube. It covers some of what I do in this class, or what I have done in this class. So we're going through different techniques for how to use lower weight to get a lot of work. Let's finish out one more set here. Finish out this 10. Again, constant tension on that arm. Keep a firm grip at all times. Okay. Constant tension, same thing, 10 reps here. Then we're just going to put the backpack on, load it with a little bit more weight. 2 and 1. So load it with more weight if you need. We're going to go into our squat and our reverse lunge. So we're just going to alternate legs on that reverse lunge. We're just going to have an arm back. So you just want to sit, again, down, 1 and 1, 2 and 2 on each leg. Gain constant tension. Try not to rest, going from one movement into the other. 3. 4. Sit all the way down on that squat. And that's very important. People kind of take it as like, oh, it's sort of just constantly harping on us about, these people are constantly harping on us about sitting all the way down to your squat. Well, keep in mind that a muscle only works if you're moving it through the joint's range of motion. It's just a mechanical thing. So if that joint isn't moving through a full range of motion, the muscle isn't working through that range of motion. It just can't. So it's very important. It's not just some side thing to be concerned about. It's actually the prime thing you should be concerned about. So if you have to sacrifice some reps in order to hit a full range of motion or sacrifice some weight, that's the more important thing to do. Barring a few, of course there are exceptions to when you want to work a full range of motion, but those are kind of special considerations. Now we're on that 6. And keep tension the entire time. As soon as they get to the top, right back down. Same thing on the other leg. 6. I'm going to go through 10 here. So as soon as I hit the top, I'm going right into that squat. As soon as I get to the top of each squat, going right back down into the next. We're on 7. Feet through the floor on that squat. 7 lunges. 7 lunges. Right on the other leg. And focusing on what muscle we're working. Knee and hip here. Let that hip come through. We'll do that from the side next. We want to make sure that hip's coming through. 8. So when I do that lunge, stepping back, the hip, squeeze the glute, bring that hip forward. Think about what angles we're opening and what angles we want to close. In this case, knee and hip angle. Open, closed, or closed and open, actually. One more. Same thing on the other side. 8 reps, going up to 10. Just as important on your squat to hit that full range of motion. All right, 2 more sets. Finish them out. We'll go into some bridges. Should feel a lot of blood pumping into the quads. Right back, 9 lunges. Get as many reps as you can. If you can't make it through all of them, try to get through all the sets. So if you have to stop at 8, do 2 sets of 8 at the top, because we should be doing 10 sets for just adding 1 on every set, right? That should get the heart rate up pretty good too. Remember with your lunge, I say remember, this is only if you've heard this in past classes, but let's finish off this 10. As much as you step back, or you can step back as much as you want to determine what muscle you're going to work. The further you step back, the less knee angle you're going to create, the more hip angle. So you're going to work the glutes and hamstrings a little more. Take this to 10, and we get into our hip raises. Back into that lunge, then we'll get onto the ground. And 1, right on the other leg, same thing, 10 here. We'll be right into our bridge and leg raise. Okay, good work. So now we're going to be back down. Go into our bridge and our leg raise, then we'll be fully done. So in this case, we're running a little low on time. We're gonna go up by 2 reps on every set to 10. So I'm gonna take this weight over my hip. 1, 2, 1, 2. And let's just add 2 reps. Heel through the floor. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Really try to squeeze at the top. We're going to hold the last rep of each one at the top for a 10 count. I'll flip this over so these bags aren't hitting me in the face. Try to get those shoulder blades down as you're doing that leg raise. Not that it's bad if they come up, just a little bit of a different way to work it. You'll get a little bit different work through the abs, but the shoulder blades can come up in this movement. But for our purposes, I'm trying to isolate the abs a little further down near the hip. So we're going to keep them planted. Unless you want to. If you want to, do your thing. You know, I'm not here to stop it. But we're trying to keep the blood around the hips right now. All right, so we should be on 8. Then we'll do our 10. We're going to hold the last rep at the top of each one for a 10 count. And then we'll recap what we did. Okay, 10 reps, hold the top for 10 counts. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and now let's squeeze everything. 10, 9, try to push that hip through itself. Try to push the hip bones through your body. It won't happen, don't worry. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If it did, then I'm sorry, we're not liable for any of that. It's the same thing, 10 here, 10, 9, 8, 7, 4, 3, 2, and hold. 10, 9, 5, 4, 2. It's a little hard to talk while you're doing that at work. Okay, so what we've done is we've just done sort of a count up, keeping constant tension on related muscle groups. The rear delt fly and the lateral fly, well, we've done it 2 ways. We've done related muscle groups and opposing muscle groups. So the rear delt fly and the lateral fly, obviously counting up to 10, we're working on related muscle groups that your rear delts are going to work very slightly in your lateral fly, but not enough to really get them to be the limiting factor. But once you start introducing that rear delt fly, then they're working harder because they're fatigued. Vice versa for the lateral fly and the rear delt. So we work those together, get a lot of tension on each one, slight rest on one muscle, but not complete, while we do the other. With the curl and the tricep extension, of course we had opposing muscle groups, but we had tension on the shoulder during that triceps extension, which we already fatigued from the start of the workout. Then we did our squat into our lunge. Now why we would do that? Technically, you're stronger, you know this. We'll go over a stretch soon. Just want to explain why we did what we did. So technically, you're stronger in your squat, of course. You do a lot more weight. So you're adding a little fatigue with those lunges. When you squat, you're getting a rest. But as you get more fatigue from the lunges, it becomes less and less of a rest as we go up to 10 reps. Then we do the bridge and the leg raise. Get opposing muscle groups. We're trying to keep the shoulders down to work the lower abs that are going to tilt the hip. The flexors obviously extend the hip. Okay, so that's just another technique that you can use. Let's push the palms up to the ceiling, hold the shoulders back, hold 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, push those hips back. And it's important when we do this, the reason that we want to put the hands down on the knees and then push the knees back straight, keep the lower back flat here, because you don't want to turn this into a lower back stretch. You want this to be a hamstring stretch. So you can always move through different joints. If I move through my lower back, I'll be able to get lower. I'm trying to keep that movement through just the hamstrings. My hamstrings are just tend to be very tight. So it's a good stretch for everybody. Many others are the same. So let's open up those hips. Drop the hands down ahead of you. Sit that weight back into the heels and pull the shoulders back. Again, if you can't get the shoulders back here, it can be a shoulder mobility thing, but it can also be the fact that you can't get your hip in the right position. If your hip is rounded over, or if you're rounded over because your hips aren't mobile enough through here, then the shoulders aren't going to be able to get back. So try to feel where that's limiting if you can't get the shoulders back. And we have, of course, yoga classes that'll help with your mobility. If you have a problem in either place, you don't really need to diagnose. Spread the shoulders out. One thing about that is, if you can't diagnose